standards are before you get to a point where, oh my God, you're angry. I mean, if that's how you interpret it, then you knew that from day one.
Right.
Because we talked about that. And the second thing is reminding people that we're on the same team, right? So I've had a situation, a couple, where I've had to pull my CEO, my manager to the side and go, okay, let's talk about that conversation we just had. And the way I've done that without him being upset is to say, when you do this, this is how I feel. And then the result is that my work is poor. We don't want my work to be poor now, do we? Right. So if we want me to do good work, then this is what I need, right? So it's not about you're a bad person. It's not you're making it hard. It's A plus B equals C. C is bad. Right. Let's get to D, right? That's the equation. Yeah. And I feel like whenever I position the conversation, not you versus me, not nothing like that, but just this is what we want for the company. This is how I can help you reach your goals. Right. The conversation is completely different, right? Then it's, oh crap, I do want to reach my goals. How do we do that? And then I feel like they open up a lot more than making it about them being the bad guy. So that's a tactic that I found really helpful.
All right. Great. So I wanted to kind of shift the conversation and talk about, how, technology is sometimes a stressful industry for us. How do we as women, we are, some of us are wives, mothers, some of us, have so many other things that we do. How do we manage balance? How do we, is it okay not to be okay sometimes? Because sometimes I think we put on this mask and we just try to act like everything's okay. And sometimes we need to focus on making sure that we're good and we have balance. So could you guys give any advice on how we can do that in this industry?
You have to know yourself and know your boundaries. Like, I was in a situation where I worked so much that I got something called iriditis at some point, where the irises in my eyes got inflamed. I was like, that's too much work.
That's the barrier.
Yeah. But being really purposeful about what's important to you. So I'm okay with working late. I'm okay with working early. I'm not okay with working on weekends. Don't do it. I also take a mental health day every now and then. Yeah. I write PTO, block it off, not calling in, not doing anything. Use your vacation days. Like, nobody's giving you a prize for keeping those days. And also encourage other people to do the same. If you see other folks on your team and your community not taking care of themselves, nobody's doing a good job. Right. You're not going to get to your goals doing that.
You need to take quite a bit of time off. You need a sabbatical. Talk about Kanye.
For me, you can't give what you don't have. And I'm just gonna say this: Black women are the moral compass of this country, and the rest of this world has been sitting on our backs, on our shoulders, weighing us down since slavery. And it's time for that. When you look at feminism, it's white feminism. It does not include us, it never has included us. And when we get to this realization that we need to be out for ourselves, we need to really protect ourselves, who I feel safe with, especially in the work that I do, are Black women. And I say this on Twitter, so there's not a surprise. I distrust whiteness by default. Because I've been gaslit so often that it is their job. If they want to change that perspective, it is their job to do consistent, demonstrated behavior that they can be trusted. A lot of it has nothing to do with their intentions. It's how they've been socialized. So the work that I do is intensely focused on white people, talking about white supremacy, talking about building businesses. I can't go to that to fill me up. I have to go to other Black women. But when I was a teacher, I get a day off, take a day, baby. I believe in taking time off. Okay. Putting that, and I don't have to go anywhere. Putting that vacation thing on your thing. That's one reason I work for myself, so I can do this. I can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning if I want to work on something, right. But I can go back to sleep. Because I knew I needed that freedom to do this kind of stuff. But we burn out so.
The burnout.
You talk about your stuff. I got so stressed. The sternum had inflammation in my sternum. And I was like, what the? And one of the reasons when I was in college trying to figure, just stress it manifests physically, and then I am absolutely no good to myself,
Right.
to my family, or the community that I'm trying to do something with. So we really have to prioritize ourselves, because again, Black women are the moral compass of this country, and that's why you keep seeing Vote Like Black Women, Amplify Black. They know that we have said, if it weren't for us, we would be, y'all think we'd be in a shit show. Good God Almighty. Because when we vote our conscience, our morals, everybody benefits.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just wanting to say that we just really have to we have to stop. We have to stop.
So I go to farmers markets. Farmers markets are amazing. Do y'all know about do y'all have more farmers
Yes.
markets? They got different kinds of figs and stuff. They got tiger figs, they got black figs, they got all kinds of figs. It's a really beautiful place.
Good for flying.
Figs, or the farmer's market. Figs.
Figs are amazing. So for me, a lot of my mental health, a lot of my balance comes from Saturday mornings. My husband and I will go find a local farmers market in San Diego, and that's my time off. And it feels productive because I'm technically grocery shopping. I'm like having breakfast, but that's been like my escape. And I try to budget that in every single weekend. But apart from that, balance is, the whole work-life balance conversation, I find really frustrating because it feels like there's just one definition of what that is. It feels like it's a strange thing. It's like if you work more than 40 hours, you're, a terrible workaholic who's, punishing themselves, and there's this huge negativity around that.
Right.
But I like working. I like what I do. I like being up until, 2 o'clock in the morning. I like that. I actually enjoy that. Only to a specific time, so, and so for me, it's been redefining what balance looks like. It's for me realizing that I really just don't need that much time off. I need my Saturday mornings, that's kind of it. I need the occasional, date out with my husband, and that's basically it. And being okay with that, not feeling guilty about working too much. There was a time when I would, tweet late at night just because, looking for company and just saying, hey, how's it going, working on this thing? And I would get DMs and tweets of people going, oh my God, you're working too hard. You're gonna burn out. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, you don't know me. And so part of it is just really knowing who you are and what you need, and listening to your body. That's been huge. Like knowing, like when your body says, I'm not feeling well, you need to stop. You need to take an hour, take it to yourself.
Do you think working for the right company or having the right company that has the right culture fit and being passionate about the company that you work for dictates the level of effort of wanting to go beyond the 40 hours? Because if I love my company, I love my team, I love what I'm doing, I probably am more okay with that. But if I don't really like my environment, I don't like I just want to, because I know you work for Salesforce, and a lot of people are so, they're so excited about working for these big Fortune 500 tech companies, and then when they get with these companies, they find out that they're burning out and they're not happy. So I just want to ask you guys, do you think culture fit in the right company also helps with that?
Yeah, I really do. I think it's paramount of importance. One of the things that happened over the course of my time working at Salesforce is there was a women's movement. All of a sudden, work-life balance became a bigger topic. And I was very vocal with our leadership. And I said, hey, you know what? Let me tell you what work-life balance means to most of us women. It means men pushing off a lot of things that they need to do to their wives, right? And us as, right? I'm saying, so now,
We can't further marginalize the marginalized.
no, exactly. Right. So I want to say something though on that piece. Now, women in the workplace, we have these multivariate pressures. We have this pressure of being the woman who cooks. We have this pressure of being the woman who runs the boardroom. And we have our own dreams as well. And sometimes they are associated with our corporate progress, and other times they're associated with other things. So we have these needs that are really challenging to fulfill. And what's rewarded in our society is often what actually drives our behavior. So if we're working really hard, if we're working really late hours, it's probably because somebody is either affirming us in doing that or giving us a really good chunk of change to do that, and that's our reward, and it's kind of driving that behavior. What we need to do is advocate for ourselves and the things that we need to make sure that we have space, make sure that we have quiet, make sure that we have the kinds of support and not being minimized for that. And I'll give you an example. If I have somebody come in and clean my house, let me tell you, I'm gonna appreciate that person. I think you like the CEO of this countertop. You the bomb. I'm gonna make sure you get paid well, right? The amount of time, here's how I think we ought to think about outsourcing work when it comes to certain things is, what would be the value of my time if I did that?
Right.
Now, in not doing that, I'm getting some time back to do something that's more valuable. So how about I compensate that person as close as I can to equal value of what I'm getting? As close as I comfortably can do that, right? And really respect the fact that this person picking my child up from school is making sure that my child has a great opportunities in life and comfort, right? And so there's all these other things associated with that. And on the point about the corporate culture, at Salesforce is very well known. If you go on the Glassdoor, you're going to see, that's a burnout shop, right? That's what it's going to say on Glassdoor. That's not my words. I take sabbaticals, right? I tell people when I need time off, when I need serious time off, I take my time. There's other people who don't. The other thing, and I'm gonna say, white people are actually really good at this, so shout out to the white folks in the room. Therapy.
Yes.
Therapy and counseling. Yes. We often misconstrue the need for therapy with mental illness. Sometimes it is that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But also therapy and counseling is just great in helping you grow and overcome difficult things. If you are in the middle of a role transition and you're trying to move into a more aggressive leadership position, you're going to be facing a lot of friction that you haven't experienced before. You're going to be facing a lot of cognitive load and stress and people coming at political stress.
So don't look at it as a weakness. Don't look at therapy as a weakness.
You need to get that therapy and that support and advocate for it.
It should be a tool in the toolbox. And it shouldn't be seen as anything else. But I want to talk to that culture thing because none of this happens without safety. We're already treated poorly outside of our work environments. If I don't feel safe within my work environment, first of all, you're going to get 30% of my time because everybody there is mediocre anyway. I'm sorry. As hard as I had to get there, I'm already outpacing everybody. I mean, I was on a job and I got turned some work in and they called me and was like, why are you turning it in? So I had to learn, do my work on Monday and parse it out during the week. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm already black girl magic. So we have to learn, but if I don't feel safe, you ain't getting nothing else from me. You're gonna get the bare minimum so that I don't have to hear your voice.
And we did actually a lot of work on psychological safety. I mean, the first time I went to someone in our employee success HR leadership and talked to them about the need for psychological safety, they said, what? When you say that, it makes it sound like this place is not psychologically safe. Let me tell you who just the other day was talking about psychological safety, our CEO.
Wow.
Right? So, you know, we leave these discussions and we have to keep we have to keep pushing it, right? One last thing I want to add is in these companies that do have a lot of corporate trauma that it inflicts upon people, I'm going to be very clear with corporate trauma. There are pockets of safety. You have to find your pockets of safety. Every organization is going to have trauma. You have to find your pockets.
So what's the strategy to finding those pockets?
I'm just going to say, hold on. Your questions are challenging for me because there is no one size fits all. And I'm
happy that it's a low challenge.
Because I'm challenging that because I don't want anybody. What works for me can't work for somebody else. Because I would just somebody else will get fired. so don't do what Kim does unless you're willing to deal with the consequences of what it is. And so I think that all of us have very
Different
approaches,
perspectives.
because everybody is different. I've always been the one that said, don't go in the woods. Okay, that's something in the woods I don't want to see. So that's just been my personality.
That is so accurate.
I mean, yes.
I know you.
Yes.
Did you go yourself or did you send someone?
Oh, no. I whipped myself because I calculated all she was going to do was whip me. I done had a whipping before. What's that? I wanted to see what's in the woods. Now, mind you, I was in Atlanta doing missing and murdered children time.
Oh,
So I was
God.
freaking my mama out every time I went somewhere.
I
Oh, yeah.
realized this was a real story.
Yo, I was not the child my mama wanted at the time. Yeah.
I kind of built these questions because I just wanted this conversation to be very, we focus a lot on the professional aspect of development, and we don't focus on a lot of the other issues that we deal with. I've dealt with a lot of career heartbreak, unhappy times, and I just wanted to see, you guys' thoughts on it. So I just wanted to let you see if you had anything to add to that.
So my answer is probably not gonna sit well with a lot of people, but I'm a large enterprise person. I don't have my own business. If I don't feel safe, I find another job.
There you go, girl.
Yes.
There you go, girl.
So trying to create pockets of space, talking to your manager, talking to your peers, and if that's not working, there's lots of people who want to hire you.
Exactly. So know your worth.
Know your worth,
Yeah.
especially in tech. I work for Express Scripts right now for the last 3 years. And it's a very interesting place because we manage medication benefits for about a third of the country, and my team does research on your interaction with the website or with whatever. And I have to tell my team all the time, this job will break your heart. Take a breath, let's take a step back, let's all go out, we're gonna leave today at 2. Because they get feedback from the website, they'll be in a session with users, they'll be looking at analytics and see that, oh crap, we did something today that folks couldn't log in, they couldn't get their refill, you read these comments and it will literally break your heart. And so, you have to take a break from the work sometimes. But then on the other hand, when we make some change, accessibility is my favorite thing to talk about right now. We made the website usable for people who are blind. We got comments like, oh, I was able to do my refill today and I didn't have to call my cousin to come pick me up and drive me to the pharmacy. And you're like, everybody high five, people are crying. Yes, we did a great job today. But the work itself can be really rewarding and also really hard. So you have to have a balance. And on the other hand, sometimes you feel like you're doing stuff that doesn't matter. And that's hard to do all too. It sounds crazy, but I worked at NASA and I left because I felt like I was doing a lot of work for 6 people in the space station versus doing work for 100 million people in the United States. So you just got to know what's important to you.
So I had a question. Since you are, how can we better mentor and develop relationships with managing and mentoring female developers, UX designers, QA testers? Because I've been in leadership roles where I want to better help women of color that are junior developers. What are some advice could you give to some of the people that may be managing teams?
One thing that I try to instill is a couple things. Prepare to be uncomfortable. Just not in situations where you don't feel safe, but in situations where you need to do a presentation, where trust that I asked you to do this for a reason.
Yes.
You are qualified. You might be uncomfortable, but kind of take that discomfort to the side and go ahead and go for it. The other thing is know what's important to you and own it. Like if money's important to you, that's fine. I don't have kids. That was a decision I made, and I talk about it all the time. Don't feel like less of a woman because you decided not to have kids.
Because they say that millennial women they're not getting married as fast or not having kids as fast, and some women feel pressured or feel like they have to do this self-comparison. And social media really is making people feel like she got married or she got a picture of her baby. How you guys handle that, like, you know, with the self-comparison of another woman of color in the workplace? Sometimes you feel slighted or you feel some kind of way. I have at one time. Now that I've grown to be 35, I'm really more comfortable with myself. But how can we help other young women of color not feel that way?
I think for me, one of the big things is figuring out, because I get jealous all the time. I'm a very jealous person. And I look at other people, I think we all are, don't lie. But I think too many times I look on Instagram, I look on Twitter, and I'll see someone who has something and I go, oh, I wish I had that. And what I've done that's been really helpful is to dig in a little bit more and figure out, but do I want that? Or do I want what that represents?
Why?
Right? So if I look at someone, you know, with a nice car, my instinct is, oh, I wish I had a nice car. But then I go, my garage isn't even that big. Like, why do I even fit this car? You know? And I realize that it's not really about the car. It's the fact that I assume that person, you know, had enough money and enough financial security that they could afford the car. So really what I want is financial security. So what does financial security look like for me? Right? And too many times I look at photos and stuff and I think that what I see is the thing, but it's rarely ever the thing. It's what that thing represents. And figuring out what that means for you. What does success really look like for you? And what are the proxies you associate with that?
I'm so glad you said that because it gives me a chance to plug a resource that I developed. If you go to lifemodeldesign.com, I actually created a guide to driving your career and getting promoted and negotiating and stuff like that. And I know there's some people here that have used it, but why that's really important is actually not just to know what's out there and to know what's available to you, what other people are getting. That's one piece. But the other thing is to know what is really driving you. And in that, we actually have a whole section that is just driven around helping you understand what your motivators are. Like, what are your motives? Is it significance? Is it connection? Is it that you want to be recognized? Is it growth, right? What is actually rewarding you? Because if you can figure that out, you will find the right people to be inspired by, and then you will take the action to get what you actually want rather than feel bad about yourself.
And bypass I wanted my phone because I was watched, and I mentioned this in the my presentation, Requiem for American Dream, and he speaks these principles, and one is manufacturer consent. And there's this thing called fabricating consumers. If you can fabricate, and this is how people have trained us, if you can fabricate wants, make obtaining things that are just about within your reach, the essence of life, they're going to be trapped in becoming consumers. Now, expand that out beyond that. When we see celebrities, when we see artists, when we see the CEO, when we see that person who just got that promotion, we have been trained to see that stuff, be distracted by that stuff, and not go for what we really want, which is freedom and peace and happiness and all that. Because if we all went for that, we would be in the system that we're in right now. So that is a great point about when you really drill down to things, and that therapy helps with that. When you really drill down to it, it's not the stuff that they told us that we want. It's the feeling we think we're gonna get from the stuff that we think we want. Or the feeling we get from what we think that person got when they got that promotion.
Right.
Or that thing, and again, bypassing all that and get to the real work, because even chasing that takes resources. So instead of expending resources on that, this is what I really want. How do I best get to that? And that's why the business is what I have it, because one of my bucket lists is to be invited to speak at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. And so I know when I'm doing stuff on Twitter or whatever, if it doesn't take there, I don't need to talk to you. You're just a troll. But if I see that that's in the path, we about to engage. So it's about understanding, digging deep, and we've been taught, again, not to question the church, and there's nothing against the church, but if you're not self-reflecting, you're not growing. And the church has been used to pacify us and enslave our minds for so long. And there's nothing wrong with having a faith, but a faith without examining, you can be led anywhere. And these are the things we need to be doing.
Yeah, I want to add another practical example on that because, you know, I love hip hop, and so.
Who's your favorite hip hop artist?
Tupac.
Okay,
all right, see? You know, so they talk about, you know, cars and fancy cars, and I never was really into cars until I saw the Bentleys. And the reason why I really like the Bentleys is because the Bentleys is for you to have a chauffeur who drive you around. Right? Now, yesterday I went to Paisley Park. Shout out to everybody from Minneapolis, right? So I'm in Prince's spot, right? And I see his cars, and one of his cars is a Bentley. So I walk up to it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Do I want this? Do I want this? It was a coupe, and it was a Bentley, but it was one that you drive yourself. And I was like, I don't want that. And then I thought about it, and I said, you know what? I already got a Bentley because I got Lyft.
I was just thinking that.
Like when you do that examination, you can get really deep and get really satisfied.
Yeah. I just have one last question, and then I wanted to open up for the audience members to ask questions.